Greetings, Rosie here with Living Your Best Life, Transformational Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Today we're going to be talking about resilience. I know it's been trying times for a lot of people in a lot of ways. I'm having to be resilient right now with this little cold that I have going. There's a lot of different ways I have to be resilient right now. And I know this is something that, many of us are going through some little rough patches. There's a lot of rough patches happening in the world. Yeah, let me just give a second to make sure I've got you guys up on my computer so I can see your comments. Let me turn my sound off on my phone. Yeah, I hope you all are doing amazing. Greetings. Alice, nice to see you in here. Twinkle Toes, hope you are feeling better. I know you were under the weather for a little bit. I am a little bit right now. I just have this little cold that still keeps holding on. So today we're talking about resilience and what some of the different things that we do to help stay resilient. So, becoming the wave is my theme for the year. So everything I do is centered around the waves. Love waves. By the sea every day. I've just been, studying them and seeing what I can learn from the waves. So let me make sure I've got the molecular hydrogen water going. And just like the waves knock us down sometimes, we have to keep getting back up. And the waves can remind us that yes, they crash, but they always rise back up. It's a cycle. And no matter what's happening in your life, whether it's good or bad, it's not going to last forever. We go through phases. We go through different transformations. So know that if you are going through a rough patch right now, it's going to end. That's not going to go on forever. There will be, more peaceful, quiet times coming as well. And, I can think back when I was younger and I really wanted something to happen and it didn't happen that way, how upset I would get. And I know we all did that at some point in our lives. We really allowed that to knock us off track. But as we've been talking about within this group, it's so important to stay in the flow. It's so important to not let those things knock us off track. Okay, cool. I've got you guys up on here. So if you're just coming in, let me know where in the world you are coming in from. I know we've got one from Mount Shasta in here. We'll see who else flows in. But it's so important to stay in that flow. Just need to get a little drink of water. Like I said, I've had this little cold that's just been hanging on, not wanting to let go. But I feel like the molecular hydrogen water really helps. It's an adaptogen. It goes wherever in our bodies it is most needed. So it's a really good tool to help knock out whatever might be knocking us down. So let me know, how are you doing today? What's happening with you? Do you have anything you feel like you're fighting or that is knocking you down, or you're having a rough time with anything? It's okay. We all have that. And I want you to know that this is, a safe space to share those things until we have an awareness of what is happening with ourselves. We can't shift it. All of these things can be shifted and transformed. I'm a transformative coach, transformational coach. So I help you to recognize the things within you, and I help you shift them so that you can go out there and live your best life. We all deserve to be living our best lives, and this is an abundant universe that wants us to have everything we would love. But we've got to do the work. We've got to look at what is standing in that gap between where we are and where we would love to be. And we've got to be able to take a look at that, and we've got to be able to do the work to shift that. So that is where I come in. And that is something I love to do. I love to help people make that transformation, to have the awareness of those feelings and those thoughts and those belief systems that are holding them where they are right now, and really help them to transform so that they can be that person that they really want to be, or they can be in those places they really want to be. Those who have been working with me know the 4 categories I work within are health and well-being, love and relationship, vocare, or your mission in life, what it is you're here to do, and then time, money, location, freedom. If you had all the time and all the money, where would you be? What would you be doing? Who would you be with? What would you be eating? How would you be thinking? You know, we really want to ride to the crest of that wave. Be up on top of the world. Feel as if we already have those things. And when we can do that, when you're up on that crest, you can see things from a different angle. You think in a different way. And that, I feel like that is a really good metaphor for being in that vibrational energy of what we would love. You know, it takes work to be able to balance on that surfboard and stand it up and ride that wave. So think about the feeling that you would get, whether you're a surfer or not, whether you've ever ridden on a surfboard and been able to ride that wave. I think you can envision what that would feel like. I think you can envision what that would feel like to be up on top of that wave and how good that would feel. So, yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about resilience. We're talking about looking at some past resilient moments and how that felt to overcome maybe some tough things you've been through, to remind you that these tough times don't last forever. They are just like a blip. But the more we get caught up in them, the more drama we create. For example, let me give you an example. So you're driving down the road, you're going to this really important event, maybe you have a date with somebody you're really excited about, or maybe you have an important meeting you need to get to, whatever that might be, and your car breaks down, or you get a flat tire. You're like, oh, yeah. But it really like throws you off, and you get really upset about it, and, you know, yeah, you just get yourself in a tizzy. And I used to be there, but I really want to remind you that everything happens in divine time. Everything happens exactly as it should. And we only see this small little segment, whereas, you know, the Most High sees all things, or the universe sees all things. And maybe the universe could see that if you kept going down that road, you would have gotten in a big accident. But instead, you know, he stopped you prior to getting to that point. So we never know why exactly things happen. And maybe, you know, down the road or in hindsight, we can see it. But everything is happening exactly as it should in each and every moment. But we as humans sometimes get ourselves caught up if it's not happening the way we thought it would, the way we planned it. And that's where detachment comes in. Majority of times, things are not going to happen the way we think it's going to. Because the universe has this divine plan. But if we can stay in the energy of what we would love, despite the different things that happen to us, we can't help but have things come to us that are a match for that vibration. Just drink a little bit more of my water. Grateful to have you guys here. If you're watching the replay, please put hashtag replay in the comments. Yeah, I had to scramble. Had to have a little resilience and scramble to get ready a little bit this morning because being that I was sick, I ended up sleeping longer than I had intended. And when I woke up, it was almost 11 o'clock. I was like, oh no, I need to jump up so that I can go do Transformational Tuesdays because, you know, I have a commitment, as long as I have Wi-Fi, no matter where I am, to be here for you guys at 11:11. That is my time. And I like to be consistent. I like to be here and show up for you and give you my little piece for the week. And I'm really excited to let you guys know I've got some big things in the works. I have a really cool 3-part activation that I am working on. Of course, becoming the wave theme. It comes in 3 waves. So, because everything has phases, right? So, you know, I've just been studying nature and studying the waves and seeing what I can learn from the waves to impart onto you guys. Because I feel like I do learn a lot from the waves. I feel like everything we need, we can observe in nature. All the lessons, all the knowledge we need, we can receive from nature. All right, that's better. To get a little water in my throat. So, resilience, and yeah, so this 3-part series, Become the Wave. We've got the awareness phase, where we're really looking at our inner thoughts and feelings, the power we have within, the resilience we have within, everything within. And, you know, yes, it appears like a wave is always in motion, but there's different phases. There's a resting phase, you know, when we're observing and rebuilding our energy and really looking at what we're working with. And then there's a rising phase, okay, where we're getting clarity. We're getting really clear on what it is we would love. And there's the ice cream truck. Are we getting clear that we're supposed to have ice cream? Yeah, I don't know. But it does all happen for a reason. And then in the 3rd phase, we're taking action because we've had that rest phase. We've risen up and we've gotten that clarity. And now we're ready to ride the wave and take action and stay in the flow. So that's kind of the general theme of what this activation is all about. Like I said, it will be a 3-part series. And you'll continue to learn more about that as it develops. But I'm really excited about it. I worked on it most of the day yesterday. And I know it's been a little while. Other than the Dream Builder program and the mastermind groups, I haven't had that many offerings lately because I've been having to be resilient. I've had a lot going on in my life. I, you know, went back when I left here last, had to go back to California. Things weren't being taken care of in my apartment that needed to be taken care of to make it habitable. So we ended up having to pack up and move everything out and move on to a new phase. So, excuse me. You know what? I think this is a good moment to just put our feet on the ground, take a few deep healing breaths. So yeah, put your feet down. We're going to breathe in through our nose, or we're going to breathe in love and light and peace. And as we exhale, we're going to exhale through our mouth. We're going to let go of anything that no longer serves us. Any fear, doubt, worry, shame, blame. I see somebody else just popped in. Let me know in the comments who is here. Unless you comment, I typically can't see who is here. I do see the little profile circles come up, but I can't always tell from that who it is. So let me know who's here. Let me know where you're coming in from. You're here in divine timing. We are just about to do our 3 deep healing breaths to reset our nervous system. Okay, so make sure your feet are flat on the ground, that you are grounded. And like I said, we're going to breathe in through our nose. We're going to envision that we are breathing in love and light and peace. As we exhale, we're going to exhale through our mouth as if we're breathing out through a straw, and we're going to let go of anything that's no longer serving us. Anything that might be on our mind that isn't of the highest frequency. So that's any shame, blame, fear, doubt, worry. Yeah, there's other feelings in there as well, and I will definitely share with you Dr. David Hawkins' frequency pyramid so you can take a look at what are my feelings I'm feeling right now and what frequency are those at, because Dr. David Hawkins took the time to study those and measure those, and that has been repeated and tested, tried and true. Everyone pretty much ended up with the same results, the same frequencies for those feelings. So there's been consistent research on that. So, like I said, feet on the ground. We're going to breathe in, hold it in our heart, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Excuse me, a little hard for me to breathe today with my cold, but I'm not going to let that resistance hold me back from anything that I might want to do. I'm paying attention to my body. I am resting. I'm doing my bush teas, but I'm not going to let that stop me from coming here to you and inspiring you to be living your best life, because, you know, I believe everyone should be living their best lives. We all deserve that. So breath number 2, breathe in, hold it, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. And breath number 3. Can't breathe as deeply as I would like to. 2, 3, 4, and let it go. My apologies. Okay, so I want you to remind you that that simple little breathing exercise can really help reset your nervous system. Greetings, JD. Nice to see you. It's a pleasure to have you in here. I think it's been a little while since you have dropped in. Pleasure, pleasure. So today we're talking about resilience and how we can overcome and not let things hold us down in the low frequencies. That it's really important to release things, to, you know, be like the wave, and the wave crashes, but it always still keeps getting up. It doesn't crash and stay down there, right? It crashes, it rests for a minute, and then it rises back up. Crashes again. It's a cycle. Comes up, it crashes, comes back in, crashes, comes back in. So we want to be riding that wave, and that's what we are working towards. I let folks know there's a 3-part activation that I will be bringing to you guys really soon. Really excited about it and how it's coming together. But we've all gone through rough patches. We've all gone through tough times. And I feel like a lot of people are going through rough patches with, all the things going on in the world right now. You know, sometimes we get caught up in those external circumstances around us. You know, all the things going on with the war and killing and all of these things. And we get so caught up in that, and it throws us off. Or we get caught up in, you know, some bad thing that happened to us. But I was using the example earlier of, you know, you're driving down the road, you have somebody somewhere really important you're supposed to be. Maybe it's, you know, a date you were really looking forward to. Maybe it's an important meeting. Doesn't matter what it is, but there's something really important we're trying to get to. And our car breaks down, or we get a flat tire. And we get really upset about it, and we let that throw us off, and maybe even like we're in a foul mood and somebody stops to try to help us, and we're just like, no, I'm all right, you know? But you're not all right. And so, you know, one of the things we're going to be doing in this series is really taking a deep look at our feelings, our thoughts, the power we have within, but just knowing everything is divine timing, and knowing that we may not see the whole picture. We may not know the reasons that everything happens, but maybe that accident or that flat tire happened because just down the road a little ways, there's a horrible accident. And this was the Most High or the universe trying to prevent you from being a part of that accident. We don't always know why, but we just have to remember to flow with ease and grace. Just like that wave continues to flow in this cyclical pattern, we have to continue to flow no matter what happens. And even if that wave takes us and crashes us down, we still have to get back up. And so we can talk about what are some of the things that help us to stay resilient. I think one of the things that helps tremendously for me is trying to take that quiet time every day to meditate, to really balance our nervous system. You know, taking our deep breaths can help with that as well. But we need to have some self-care. We need to have some practices that help us to stay in that flow. So oftentimes, you know, as long as I've done that daily meditation, I'm able to not let things get to me. I'm able to not get caught up in the drama, or, you know, I know that there were times in my life before this where I would do that. I would get, you know, really upset when things didn't go the way I wanted them to go or I expected them to go. But that's why detachment is really important. You know, we talk here about being really clear about what our visions are, being really clear about what we would love. And the more clarity we have, the better, the quicker the universe or the Most High can bring those things to us, or that situation to us, whatever that might be, the more clarity we have. But then we also have to do this next step of detaching from that. You know, being in the vibration of that, feeling that, but knowing it might not happen in the way that we see it. You know, it may happen, and often it happens way better than we could have possibly imagined, because we can't see all the pieces out there. You know, you're thinking, oh my goodness, where are the spiritual people? Like, I'm not meeting anybody that's like really connected and grounded with what is happening in the world, and you're feeling what that would feel like to meet that person who's totally connected and gets what's happening out there in the spiritual realms. And then the next thing you know, you meet a person that's right on point with that. So, yeah, we just have to stay in the energy of it. We have to be resilient, and we can't let these different things that happen to us along the journey slow us down. We can't let them get in the way of allowing that good to come in. Another tool that we can use if we are down and we get caught up in a thing is to think about what we are grateful for. If we are in a place of gratitude, that puts us back up in the frequency of love, the frequency where we need to be to manifest. So even if we are in like the worst situation, and maybe that car broke down and we realize, oh my gosh, you know what? I just had money come in that can cover that. I am so grateful that I currently have the money I need to replace that flat tire or to fix the car. And even if you don't have that, know that it's going to come to you in some way. Know that everything is lining up perfectly. Even though it might not feel like it in the moment, we just have to roll with it. We've got to flow. We've got to be resilient. We've got to realize that strength that we have within. So I'd like you to visualize that you are that wave. You are rising, you are cresting, you are returning to the ocean. In that cycle, you're rising, returning to the ocean, resting, rising, cresting, and returning to the ocean. And this continues to happen. Sometimes the waves are bigger, sometimes the waves are smaller, but feel what it would feel like to be that wave. Just continuing to flow. And I want you to reflect on a time that you overcame something really difficult. So you can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever feels most comfortable for you. When I am visualizing, I find it a little bit easier to close my eyes to go into that visualization, but I want you all to do what feels most comfortable for you. This is really about getting in touch with our own bodies and what works best for us. Greetings, I see somebody else step in. Let me know who is here. So let me know if you can think of that situation, some really difficult time you went through. When you're going through it, you didn't think you would ever get through it. You didn't think it was going to end. Like, oh my goodness, what else is going to happen to me? And you stay in that energy. And when you stay in that energy, more things happen because that's the vibration you're in. So if we can allow things to happen, look at what you were supposed to learn from that and release it, let it go, let the flow continue. A wave doesn't stop here or here. It doesn't just stop, right? But sometimes we allow things to just stop us. So I want you to remember to be like the wave, become that wave, stay in the flow. You might not understand why these things are happening to you at the time, but they are happening for a reason. Okay? So I want you to feel what that felt like to be in that really difficult time, thinking you had no idea how you were going to get through this. You had no idea where the money was coming from or where the help that you needed was coming from. And I just want you to feel that inner strength, to remember you got through that. No matter what's happening, whether it's a good thing or whether it's a challenging thing, it's not going to last forever. You know, everything happens in phases. And I would love for you to think about, what is that wave of resilience you're riding right now? What is something that's happening, that has happened in the past, and you got through that, what that felt like to be on the other side? And what is something that this wave of resilience that you're riding right now? And what is it teaching you? It's important to stop for a moment and see what we were supposed to learn from that, because everything is happening for a reason. Maybe you're being challenged financially right now. Maybe you have a situation happening that you have no idea what the solution is. And guess what? You don't need to know. You just have to know what it is you want. What would you love the outcome to be? And if you can stay in the frequency of that, a way will be made. Resources will show up. The right people, the right situations will show up. But we've got to trust in that. We've got to walk in faith. We can't let these situations that are happening to us hold us down in a lower frequency, because when we're in that lower frequency, guess what? Even if the resources come or the people come or the circumstances come, we can't see it. And if we can see it, we can't grasp it unless we're in that centered place. So it's really important for us to stay in this calm, centered place. We're not going to be there all the time. Not possible. But when things happen, we feel the emotion of it, we feel the anger, we feel the frustration. We sit with it for a minute, we take a look at what we were supposed to learn from that, and then we shift that energy. We don't want to stay sitting in that. We have that power within us. We have that willpower, we have that strength. Sometimes it just takes us a moment to sit back and find that. But it is in there. You are so powerful. I want you to say that. I am powerful. I have everything that I need within me. I want to hear you guys say that. I have everything that I need within me. I am powerful. I am strong. I am resilient. Because you are. Think about all the things you've been through in your lifetime. There's been so much. I'm sure if you think back, there's all kinds of things you can think back on that were challenging, and you had to remain resilient. So if there's something you're going through right now, I really want you to think about what is that thing that's challenging you right now? What are you feeling? What are you thinking in regards to that? And maybe we can shift, see what we're supposed to learn from that, but then we can shift those thoughts and feelings. And that is how we shift our energy. That is how we allow those things to come to us. And, how we're doing it right now is, in a very simple form. There's a lot of different exercises that we can do. I'm just thinking. Both physically and mentally, we have exercises we can do that builds our resilience. So in the same way, you could be like lifting weights or in a gym, building the resilience in your muscles. We also have that within us, within our, our willpower. So we have to tap into that strength. And really look at what was that supposed to teach us. Is anybody going through anything right now that we can use as an example? And as long as we are taking, and it doesn't have to be, okay, so you're in a really rough spot, okay? And maybe you don't have the strength or the energy to take that big action. Just like a wave. Waves work their way up, right? There's high tide and there's low tide. There's time when there's small little waves. And there's also times where we have big waves that we're able to surf, right? But yeah, in order to surf, we have to have the big waves. But we have to be patient for those big waves to come. And waves and water are a perfect example for this, because even just a little drop of water over time can wear away a hard rock, The rock is heavier than the water. But over time, as the wave keeps hitting that boulder or hitting that cliff, it continues to wear it down. And in the same way, if you continue to take small actions each and every day, small steps, just small things that keep moving you towards your goal, you will get there eventually. And that's part of coaching, because those can be the challenging times. When maybe we're taking these small steps every day And maybe the steps are so small that we're not really seeing our progress, or we don't feel that momentum. But that's where a coach comes in, and, you know, they can see that progress that you're making, maybe when you can't. Or they can see that thing that you're allowing to stand in your way, even when you're not able to see that. And they're able to help give you that motivation to just keep going, to just keep taking those small steps. And when we keep taking those small steps, if you move one rock every day, guess what? You can move a mountain. So it's really important to have that resilience, to keep moving forward, to keep taking those small, steady steps, even when things seem really challenging. I mean, think about how long it takes for a river to carve out a canyon. But it's just persistent, and it keeps going, and it keeps flowing, and over the days and weeks and months and years, before you know it, you have this amazing canyon that's been carved out by the water. You know, sometimes it may take hundreds of years. But if we keep going, if we keep putting in that effort and that steady forward action, before we know it, we've created transformation. And that's what transformational coaching is all about. Working together to continue that forward movement, you know, to stay in that flow, to stay in that cycle of the wave that keeps flowing over and over and over again. And that repetitive movement, that continued movement forward can really make such a difference. So that is what I have for you today. We're talking about resilience and keeping going, even if we're in a tough time. If anybody's going through a rough situation that maybe they don't feel comfortable sharing in the comments, feel free to reach out to me, DM me. I am here to help you through those rough spots. I feel like that is my mission, that is my purpose, is to help people live their best lives, to not only see the good within them, to see their gifts, to, you know, help them look at where they would love to be and get really clear on it. But we have hiccups along the way. We have things that happen to us that hold us back. And that is why most of us are not living our best lives, have not achieved those goals we would love to have. Is because when those rough patches come along, we quit, we put it down, we listen to, and maybe that resistance isn't something that happened to you. Maybe that's the people around you. Sometimes we have all this enthusiasm and we're moving forward towards a goal and we're so excited about it, but we share it with the wrong person. And they're like, you can't do that. How can you do that? You don't have the education, or you don't have the money, or you don't have this, or you don't have that. They don't believe in us. We've all had people in our lives who don't believe in us. And unfortunately, I think each and every one of us has allowed those people to stop us or hold us back from what we would love. Your dream is your dream, and there might be nobody else who understands it. Okay? But we can't let those people around us stop us from doing what we were put on this earth to do. We all have a mission. We are all here for a reason. You have special things that you were brought on this earth to do. And maybe you don't know what that is. Maybe you're not sure what your mission is or what your purpose is in this lifetime. If that is the case, I do have a 2-part session where we look into that. And it's sorry, little brain fart. I'm forgetting the name that I named it, but I will post it in the comments or share it in the group. But basically, what this session entails is, it's actually really fun. It's these 18 questions that really get at the core of what your gifts are and what you were put on this earth to do. You know what that is. That is within you. I'm just going to ask you questions that are going to pull it out. And what happens is there'll be threads throughout the answers that lead us to what that mission is. So, and then we go back and we look at all the threads, and typically you'll end up with 8 to 10 threads that keep showing up throughout your answers. And we'll look at those, and I'll have you look at which of those light you up most, which are the most important. And you will go through and determine what that is, because it is within you. You just may not have an awareness of it. But I believe when we are up in heaven before we are born, that we choose a mission that we are coming down to earth to do. There was, there's a book and a film by Donald. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my brain is not fully functioning. I'm working with it the best I can because I'm sick. I'm a little bit off, but that's okay. I'm working with it. I'm not letting it hold me back. Neale Donald Walsch. So Neale Donald Walsch wrote a book, and there's a little animation called The Littlest Angel. And, he's up in heaven, and they're, handing out the assignments of what people can come down to earth and do, what they're coming down to learn or to teach people. And, you get to choose, like, oh yeah, that's definitely the mission I want to do. So, my mission is to help people, discover their gifts, to help them live their best lives. Greetings, Michael. Nice to have you in here. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about resilience. We're talking about our gifts and, not letting anything hold us back from sharing our gifts with the world, to coming here and living our mission. If you know what your mission or your purpose is in this lifetime, I would love for you to share it in the comments. But if you don't know what that is something that I work with people with. I help them to discover that. I help them to, as I was just saying, do this 18-question interview process that gets at the heart of what those gifts are. The folks who developed this process studied all these indigenous cultures and their coming-of-age ceremonies and the ways in which they discovered, which each of the young ones coming up in their tribe as they were coming of age, they would help them to see what their mission was, what their role was within the tribe. And then they would go out on a vision quest on their own, exploring that. And then when they came back into the tribe, they were welcomed in as that role. That was their role. And we don't really do that so much in society today. But that is something that I like to help facilitate, because what an amazing world would this be if we were all following our mission, if we were all doing what we were brought here to do. Oh my gosh, this world would be such a phenomenal place. So I try to do that one person at a time. It's what I do with the youth that I work with in Soul Adventures Foundation. It's all about helping them find their gifts and helping them share that with the world, getting the mentors and resources that they need. And, when I work with adults in my coaching business, it's the same thing. We're getting clear on our vision. We're getting clear on what we would love. If you don't know what your mission or your purpose is, that is a part of the services that I offer, is sitting down with you and helping you to figure out what that is, because you have it within you. It's just a matter of, pulling it out of you and helping you to see that. So that is kind of what I have for today. I don't know if anybody wants to share, what their mission or their purpose is. Maybe you want to share something that, a rough spot you've been going through that's been holding you back, and I can help guide you through that. This is a space where you can feel free to share. This is a private group. I want you all to feel safe, to work through those things so that we all can be living our best lives. You know, is there any wood around me? I don't see any wood. I wanted to knock on some wood, but we'll pretend that's wood. Knock on wood, I have never seen anybody, you know, put anybody down in this group. I've only ever seen support, so know that this is a safe place. If anybody does, you know, discourage anybody or say anything negative or bully or anything like that, they will be out of this group so fast. So know that this is a private group. This is a safe space where you can share what is going on. Yes, the people in the group, if you leave a comment, will see that, but this is a confidential space, and that's something when we signed up for this group that we agreed to keep everything in this group confidential. So we know that we're creating that safe space for everyone here. If you don't feel comfortable sharing something in a group setting, you can always feel free to DM me. I am here for you guys. My mission is to help each and every one of you live your best lives. And a piece of that sometimes is helping people with that resilient piece, helping them find that strength within them, helping them overcome those obstacles and know that we don't always have to climb over the mountain. There's other ways. Sometimes we can go around it. You know, sometimes we do need to go over it to learn the lesson. But there are other paths, you know, just like I always go back to my water metaphors because I love water. And our theme for this year is becoming the wave. But if water is flowing in a river and it hits a rock, it doesn't just stop, right? No, it goes around it. It goes over it. It finds another way. So we're not going to let anything stop us from the things we would love. We're not going to let anything stop us from living our best life and having all of those things we would love. And like I mentioned earlier, we like to work with health and well-being, love and relationship, vocare or your mission in life, and then time, money, location, freedom. So if you had all the time and all the money, where would you be? What would you be doing? Who would you surround yourself with? And how would that feel? That's the most important piece. How would that feel? We've got to be in the vibration of it. When we can be in the vibration of it, when we know we deserve it, and we feel as if we already have it, we're coming from that place, we're thinking from a different place. When you already have that home, when you're already living in that home you would love overlooking the sea, you can just relax and look out and see the sea and feel what that would feel like. But we've got to use our imagination, and, you know, in this day and age, that's something that's gotten a little weaker for people because they're just constantly, you know, scrolling. We're on our phones. We're being distracted by so many other things in life. But we've got to tap into that side. In order to live our best lives, we've really got to be able to tap into that energy and feel what it would feel like to have those things we would love. Get really clear on what we would love, what that looks like, what that feels like, and use all of your senses. If anybody is interested in having me run through that, we don't have any sessions left for March, but we're about to step into April. And all of my peeps know that I offer 5 free vision calibration sessions every month. So if you would like to grab one of those for April, let me know and I will send you the link to book that call. But during that call, one of those things that we do is we really step into what it would feel like to be living your best life in those 4 different areas: health and well-being, love and relationship, vocare or mission in life, time, money, location, freedom. Greetings, Tammy. Nice to see you. My sister just stepped in. Lovely to have you here. I am closing out shortly, but you can always go back and watch the replay. If you're watching replay, put hashtag replay in the comments so that I know people came through. But today we were talking about resilience and not letting those rough spots trip us off. trip us up and get us off track. That we need to look at it, see what we are supposed to learn from it, and then get right back on track. And one of the ways we can do that is, through meditating. That helps us stay balanced and not let these things throw us so far off track. We also can use gratitude when we are able to flip the script and think about what we are grateful for, even when we are in the most challenging moments. It really helps to shift our frequency. And that really is the name of the game. That is the key. Your frequency is the key. Everything in the world is frequencies. We are electromagnetic, and so is everything in the world. And if we can be on the frequency of that which we would love, we can attract everything that we would love to have. It might not come in exactly the way we want it. It might not come the way we think it will. But if we can stay on that vibration and we can detach and be open to what's happening, we can have everything we would love. We can live that best life. So that is what I have for today. Let me know, do you have any rough spots you are going through right now? Do you have something that's kind of tripping you up and making things a little bit more challenging for you? If you do, you can share them in the comments. We can hold space for you. We can help you to shift that. That is what I'm here to do. I'm here every Tuesday, Transformational Tuesdays. I come and, I can offer you some free laser coaching to help you get past those spots. Let me see what JD said. You're always a blessing, Rosie. Yes, rise that vibration. Yet sometimes I get caught up with this administration. Totally understandable. And I think that's part of why this topic popped up for me. Not only is this, I'm having to have a little resilience with this cold that just keeps hanging on. But yeah, so many people are caught up with what's going on in the world, particularly in our government in the US. And it's really crazy, and it's hard not to get caught up in all of that, and, the war and the killing, but know that the powers that be, that's exactly what they want. They want you to be distracted because that disempowers you. You're not moving forward towards what you want to do if you're caught up in all of their BS. So, in some ways, I feel like that is part of the intention of these things. You also recognize in government that a lot of times when they're passing something that they don't really want you to know about, they'll create some other distraction over here. So you're all caught up in this over here and not seeing what's going on over here. So that is part of their tactics. That is part of the way they work. So I want you to have an awareness of that. And yes, we want to know what's going on in the world, but we don't want to get so deep into it that it holds us back from what we would love and being in a vibration of what we would love. Despite all that is going on in the world, I want you to make sure you do something each and every day that brings you joy, that makes you happy, that puts a smile on your face, that puts you in a high vibration. And then, with everything that's going on, it's very challenging because now we have all of this. It was hard enough to tell what was real from what was not real in terms of news and what's going on in the world before. Now it's even more challenging because now they've thrown AI in the mix. And half of what you're seeing, maybe even more than half of what you're seeing out there, is AI generated and not even real. So then you have to take even more time to decipher, is this AI? Is this real? And you really have to dive deep in order to find the truth of what's really happening. And that can really distract us. That can really get us off track. And I understand that. I followed Dr. Andrew Weil, and years ago, probably 25 years ago, I started following him. And one of the first things he tells you is to stop reading the newspaper and stop watching the news. You'll be healthier. Because guess what? They want to put us in a low vibration. They want us to be caught up in all of the negativity happening in the world. Because guess what? We are not as powerful if we are wrapped up in all of their business. Greetings, Susie. Nice to see you here. Oh, I think Samantha just stepped in too. I see Samantha. Everybody's stepping in as I was finishing, but I'll stick around if people want to pop in. Today we were talking about resilience and not letting things get us caught up. JD had just mentioned that, you know, sometimes she gets caught up with all the things going on with this administration we have in the US right now. And, you know, we have the war and all of these crazy things happening that I feel like are meant to distract us. They take away our power. They disempower us. Greetings, Samantha. Susie's in here too. Blessed rising, she says. You're exactly right about the distractions. Yeah, so we have to recognize those things. And instead of letting ourselves, and here's a perfect example, instead of letting ourselves get really upset about all the killings and all the death and destruction that are going on, if you can, I want you to flip your energy, because we want to be focusing on love and peace. That's what we want more of. The more we put our energy on the bad things, the killing, the war, all of these horrendous things that are happening, we are now being placed in a low vibration. Anger is a low vibration. Anger is a vibration of about 100. Greetings, Black Man. Nice to see you. Another Bantan in the house. Yes, So yeah, we can easily get sidetracked with all of these little issues came in that kind of threw this off. But yes, it's so true. And we have to have an awareness of that. We have to recognize, yes, we want to know what's going on in the world. But as I was talking about earlier, it can be so challenging right now, especially with all the AI, to decipher what's real and what's not real. You really have to dive down a rabbit hole and do a whole bunch of research to find out what is the real. And then if we don't know somebody there on the ground, we still don't really know, So yes, it's important to be worldly and know what's going on in the world, but we don't want to get ourselves so sidetracked by all of these things that we're not living our life. We're not going out there and doing the things we would love. We're not taking those brave steps anymore towards our goals and the things that we are trying to create in our lives. If we want to be living our best lives, we can't allow ourselves to get too caught up in that. And, like I said, that's exactly what they want. They want us to be sidetracked. If we're, focusing on all of that, we're not recognizing the power we have within. We're not taking those steps. Maybe we're sitting in doom scrolling, all of these crazy things, instead of taking those little steps every day. And like we were talking about, the water, the river, those drips of water can transform rocks. They can carve out a canyon. So those small, consistent motion every day can really get us to where we want to be. But sometimes it's hard to stay on track. And that's part of why I'm here as a coach, is that's one of my roles, is to help people stay on that track, to not allow them to get sidetracked. Yes, these things happen. Things happen to us. That's part of life. And we need to be able to look at it, see what we're supposed to learn from it, but then we need to move on. And we also need to be detached enough that we can allow things to flow and unfold in the way that they are supposed to. And we don't always know what that looks like. The Most High knows so much more than we do. JD, let's see. JD said, I don't know if anybody else is hearing this, but Rosie is going in and out every couple of words. Oh, is that happening for anybody else? Is anybody else experiencing that? Because it's not showing me a low signal here. I don't know if that's on your end. Let me know, is anybody else experiencing that? Well, see, JD, that's a perfect example of your resilience. Despite the fact that it's going in and out, you have stuck around and you have been listening. So you have used that power within your resilience to help you stay here, not here, loud and clear. Okay. So I'm sorry you're experiencing that, JD. Hope it will sort itself out, maybe get closer to your router. But has that been happening throughout, or it just started happening? Because I know you've been here with me for a while. So Samantha, is there any rough spots you are going through that you would like to share? Maybe I can do some laser coaching and help you reframe that a little bit so that it's not getting in your way, so that we can look at it as a rock that, these things can go around or go over and they don't have to be an obstacle. Oh, just started. Okay. Well, hopefully it'll get better. I pray. There was a moment there where a message came in and it knocked me out of here, but I popped right back in. So I don't know if it might have happened then. But yeah, let me know if anybody else has any specific things they are going through that they would like some help through. We also, I know Samantha, you just popped in, but as usual, we talked about how when we meditate every day, it makes it easier that these things don't throw us off. And when these things happen, that we can just recognize what we are feeling, what we are thinking, what we are supposed to learn from that, and then go into a place of gratitude and see what we can find to be grateful for within that situation. Definitely the neighbors. They're actually throwing rocks at your house right now, or you're just talking in general? Because I know that has been happening. I'm formulating a plan with my friend, but still have a gut feeling there will be backlash, as I think these guys are in deep. One of the things we can do is, obviously they're going through something. So one of the main things we can do is, not always easy, but in, forgiveness work, we talk about sending love and prayers to those people who are troubled. There's a Dalai Lama kindness meditation that I do each and every day. Actually, I'm going to bring this one forward because I think this might be a good tool in this situation. And since I have the cards out, maybe we'll do a Journey of Love card today for whoever is on here. So in the Dalai Lama kindness meditation, I'm going to walk you guys through this. We say these phrases for ourselves, then we say them for someone we would love, and then in closing, we say it for somebody we're having some difficulty with, as the Dalai Lama likes to call them, our special friends. Because those folks are the ones that help us to learn and grow. It's always great to have our friends there that love and support us, but those that challenge us really help us to grow the most. So they really are. So let's look at these folks as our special friends. So we're going to read through these 3 times. Okay, you can, 3, yeah. And you guys can repeat after me. Let me just see what Samantha is saying. But still, I am covered and protected by the Lord and his angels. I dwell in a higher place, a higher vibe, so I'm calm. You know what? Let's clap, Samantha. I am really proud of you for that, because I know there's times that I know you're protected. And I know that the Most High is always looking out for you. But sometimes we get caught up in these things. So I'm really proud of you for going to this higher place. She said, my brain says to be scared, but I'm calm. Yes, I get you. I've been praying for peace to fall over their house. And no, not right this minute. But if I go outside, then yes. Anytime you go outside, they're throwing rocks. Yeah, that is a difficult one. And we do have to be resilient when we are in situations like that. So We are going to take a minute and we are going to do the Dalai Lama kindness meditation. So I want you to repeat these after me. May I be truly happy. May I live in peace. May I live in love. May I know the power of forgiveness. May I live in recognition that my life has deep meaning and good purpose. May I walk in the way of blessings and light. May I know true love. Now this second time through, you're going to replace the I with somebody you love who you're sending blessings to. I'm going to send blessings to my son Kirikou. So, and you can replace that with somebody you love when you say it. So may Kirikou be truly happy. May Kirikou live in peace. May Kirikou live in love. May Kirikou know the power of forgiveness. May Kirikou live in recognition that his life has deep meaning and good purpose. May Kirikou walk in the way of blessings and light. May Kirikou know true love. Okay, now this third time through, this is the challenging one, and you will feel different when you are saying this one. So this time we're going to say it towards an enemy. So for Samantha, I want you to say this to your neighbors if you know their names, or you can just say neighbor. I'll even say neighbor with you. So I'll be in this one with you. So may my neighbors be truly happy. May my neighbors live in peace. May my neighbors live in love. May my neighbors know the power of forgiveness. May my neighbors live in recognition that their lives have deep meaning and good purpose. May my neighbors walk in the way of blessings and light. May my neighbors know true love. And I know you can probably feel the difference when you were saying the ones towards your neighbors. I did this recently with, somebody here. And I could really feel the difference when I said that third one. So think of them as your special friends. Samantha said you're exactly right. Special. Yes, they are special friends. They are helping us to learn and grow and have more resilience. Help us to be stronger. Yep, I counted 20 incidences the other day. And then when I came in, I heard it hit my house hard. Wow. And I know you called the police and had the police come out. But they didn't really do anything. If they actually do damage to your house, and you know what, I would actually videotape it so you have actual evidence of it. And if they actually do some damage, they have then broken the law. That's great. And it is important to truly wish these things for them. You have to really feel it. And I know it's not easy, especially when somebody's physically coming at us. Is not an easy task. And I felt this. I felt this energy. I felt that a lot of people were having a challenging time with all that's going on in the world. And I do see it really upset people. So these are important skills to learn. I'm getting there, but taking pictures of the rocks and damage to my car, they have somebody else doing. Yeah, and I mean, if you can get any pictures of them doing that, I wouldn't just give up on the police either. You know, when you were in town, I would go to them and I would, show them these pictures and these videos because that is proof that they are actually harassing you. I don't know if there would be any way to get like a restraining order. You know, that they couldn't come within a certain distance of your house. I know they're your neighbors and they're probably fairly close, but that might be an option to look at as well. But yeah, I'm really sorry that, you know, Samantha followed her dreams. She really wanted to move back to the Big Island where she grew up or had lived in the past, and she followed that dream. And then now she's been having to deal with, you know, and you know what? This is something to look at. There probably are some things within you, Samantha, that still need to be released, because I know you know, dealt with all kinds of stuff with your son and his low vibration, and that is now removed. So these obstacles, so hold your strength. Know that you are doing the right thing. You know, I wouldn't do anything retaliatory, because then you're stooping down to their level. You're getting on their vibration. But you have overcome so much. You are such a prime example of resilience. You've shared this here, so I don't think you would have any problem with me sharing, but Samantha has gone through all kinds of troubles with her son in the last year or so. Coming onto her property, damaging things, and he is now gone. You were able to overcome that. You can overcome this too. Okay, she said, police are corrupt here. Sadly, I have a story to tell you about the last incident. This is deep and hard. There's more to this story that's been revealed lately. Not just me, but others who have ended up tortured and left in a lava tube to die. Not me, period, exactly. Zen for me. Thank you, Rosie. No, go ahead and share. Yeah, and you did send me a video, I think last week, about that man who disappeared, and there had been a number of people who had disappeared off of the Big Island. So yeah, you're saying you have to move strategically. I get that. Sending peace and love is always, you know, is always a good move. Okay, yeah, somebody else is still here as well. I was going to say, if you have things that you don't want to share here, we can do a private call once I come off this live as well. Samantha, this happens more than they want to admit. Yeah, and you know what? This sort of thing happened a lot in Mount Shasta, too. There was a lot of people who went missing and were never found. I feel like a lot of times in some of these vortex spots, there's some crazy things that go on that can't be explained. And yeah, we want, you know, we have to try to make sure that we don't get caught up in it. But then when it's happening, you know, specifically to us, like these people physically throwing rocks at your house and your car and these things, it makes it pretty challenging to, you know, just ignore it and send peace and love. You know, I feel like sending that peace and love, you know, is obviously needed there. Obviously, they're not feeling peaceful if they're going to do that to other people. But it does get, you know, even more challenging than that. Yeah, sacred vortex spots definitely get, they call people in. And just like Mount Shasta is the root chakra. So if you have core issues, it does call you there to work on them. But if people are really imbalanced within their core, they really genuinely don't feel safe, they're going to have a really tough time there. And that's why we talk about the mountain either calling people in or spitting people out. And it's really true. And I know the Big Island is another one of those vortex spots. that can really like set off people's energy. It can call people in, but it can really set off their energy as well. So I know there's a lot to this and there's a lot that you're dealing with. But yes, we are here to hold a vibration. Exactly, Samantha. We are here to hold a vibe in those spots. I mean, even if you look at Jamaica too, there's, you know, a lot of violence and corruption, that there are different things that go on in this beautiful little country as well. So it happens everywhere, but the best thing we can do is to keep shining our light bright. Yes, it makes some people mad because they don't, but the more we keep shining our light, hopefully eventually people will recognize that they have that within them too. If they don't have to fight against it. They say that about here too. You are either embraced or chewed up and spit out off the island. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that holds true for Jamaica as well. A lot of places that are big energy places, big energy vortexes. Our light disturbs those demons. You are spot on, Samantha. That's right. They have something within you that bright shining light and that positive energy, there's just such a dissonance between where they are at and where you are at that it's really hard for them to be around that sort of energy. So then they retaliate against it. That's exactly what's happening. Where there's lightness, darkness is called as well. You know, the devil wants to disrupt that positive energy. They don't want us to know that we have that strength within us, that we have that resilience, that, you know, everything is happening for our good. They don't want us to know that. And they want to fight against that. But we can't let that stop us from being who we are. We can't let that stop us from living our best life and doing the things that bring us joy. I know that it can be really challenging, but I also know just how strong you are, Samantha. I've seen you go through so many different things, and you know what? You always float back to the top. You always come out on top. And I want to remind you of that. I want you to think back on some of these past challenges you've gone through. And when you were in the midst of them, it seemed crazy and you had no idea how you were going to get out. You had no clue. And I remember seeing you at times like that and seeing you a bit frazzled, your nervous system frazzled. But you came through each and every one of these things, and you're going to come through this too. We might not know what the solution looks like, but if we can envision a loving, peaceful neighborhood, and we continue to keep putting that vibe out there, that can't hurt anything. That can only help the situation. Let me see what else you're saying. Exactly, Rosie. The more light you have, the more you are challenged. Yeah, and it only helps us to grow stronger and, you know, just keep hitting next levels. So happy we're on the same page, sis. Aw, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think you're doing the right thing. You're trying to go through the right channels. I mean, if we retaliate and drop down to their frequency, we're not helping anything. You know, that's not going to help resolve the energy. That's just lowered us. And we don't want to do that. Victory and Ja. Thank you, my beloved sister. And yes, holding that vision and vibe. So yes, we're going to continue to hold that space for you. So anyone who comes in here, you know, yes, I'm attuned as a Reiki healer. But we all have energy within us. We all have healing energy within us. Whether you've been attuned or not, you have the energy to hold space for people. So anyone who's coming in here and listening to this, we can envision Samantha having a peaceful and loving neighborhood where all flows with ease and grace, and she gets to enjoy her lovely home in the hills in Hawaii. And all her plants and her dogs, she just gets to be there and be in peace, just loving her new place, having her place to herself. Yeah, and yes, we're just going to stay in that vibration right there. That love and peace. She can just really enjoy and not have anything disturbing that peace. She came there to live in love and light and peace. And that is what the Most High is delivering to her. A loving, peaceful environment. And so it is. And so it shall be. So the more we can hold that energy for you, the better. I'm sorry that, but I want you to use your resilience and your strength. Like, just as you're getting through, finally getting your son off of the property and not having to deal with his disruption of peace and love, now there's a next thing coming in. And I get that that must be really frustrating, and I'm sure sometimes that wears you down. But I just want you to remember your love and light. And that's what I want you to stay connected to. Know that this too will get resolved, just like everything else. Like I said, when we're in it, when we're in the heat of it, sometimes it's hard to see a way out. But we don't need to see the how. We just need to know the outcome that we would love, and that's a peaceful and loving neighborhood. So the more we can stay in that energy and really feel that peace and love, allow that to radiate out, allow that to radiate out, allow that to fill you, to fill your home, to fill your neighborhood. Feel that extending out through the whole island. Just continue to be a loving light. Continue to exude that loving light. Let that spread. Let that spread to all the other Hawaiian islands, because I know there's issues on some of the other islands as well. And as we continue to do this meditation, let it spread out to other countries where war is going on, and let it cover the whole globe. Just imagine all of Mother Earth being in love and peace. And know that there's a new paradigm rising up. There's already a new paradigm on this earth that's full of love and peace. And we are just watching. We are witnessing the dismantling of the old system. It's crumbling and it's falling. And that doesn't always look pretty. As these vibrations increase on the planet, know that people like that, people who have all of this anger and all of this fear, they're not going to be able to be here as these vibrations continue to increase in the planet. So, continue to be patient, continue to have faith, because as these vibrations continue to raise, people like that will not be able to be here. You can't be in a vibration of love that's at a 500 and be it, if the vibration on the planet's at a 500, which we haven't gotten there yet, but it's continually increasing. You can't be at 100. You can't be at anger. You can't be at fear. So know that in time, those people will naturally be taken out because they just can't continue to function on this high vibration. Samantha said, life as usual, LOL. No, this is not usual. But it seems that there's always something in my life. The clearing. But yeah, it's like an onion, Samantha, and we're peeling back the layers. And I think when we're in a small island environment, it becomes even more amplified than when you're like on the mainland, when you're, you know, in the States or in this really large country. I think when you're on a small island, those energies are even more amplified. But think of it like the peeling back, the layers peeling back of an onion. You're peeling back these layers. You know, when you were back in the States, you were able to learn that you had a partner that was not fully supporting you, was not, and I'm so glad you realized that before you moved and he didn't move with you. But these layers are slowly being peeled back. That layer got peeled back. You know, all of the physical ailments that, you know, you've gone through and are continuing to rise above, you know, that was getting peeled back. All the things with your son were getting peeled back. Now the neighbors. So know that we're getting closer and closer to the core. The core is pure. The core is peace and love and light. And as these outer layers continue to get peeled back, you will continue to feel more love and peace in your heart. Your light will continue to shine brighter and brighter, and those that can't handle it are going to drop off. They're going to drop out. We're not saying how, we're not saying what that looks like. We don't need to know the how, but we do need to know that you are powerful. I am powerful. I want you to say it, Samantha. I am powerful. I am resilient. I have everything that I need within me, because you do. You are love and light. I am love and light. And know that. Know that in your heart. That you are peace. I am peace. I am love. I am light. And nothing can go against that. Nothing can go against that. They can try. And they are trying. I get that. I get that, you know, in the physical reality, they are trying to go against that love and light that you are putting out there. But you are a beacon. You are a lighthouse. Know that. So know that sometimes when we are this bright, shining light, which we all are, we are all that bright, shining light. You might not see the fullness of your glow as of yet. But I'm not saying this just to Samantha. I'm saying this to each and every one of you who is here listening. You are the love and the light. You are, and you have that strength within you. You have that resilience within you. We just have to connect with that and stay connected with that. Yes, my mantra for today. Thank you. Me too. Yes. Everyone is either related or knows each other. Oh, on the island? Yeah. That's how it goes when you're in a small space like that. I wonder, you know, it's coming to me that maybe there's somebody else who's also... Oh, did we drop out or are we still there? No, I think we're still here. Yes, I've known that for years, and what Jah has given, no man or woman can take. That is absolutely right. Nobody can take that away from you. That is within you. That is a part of who you are. And I want you to know that. And this, like I said, this rings true not just for Samantha, but everybody who is watching this. If you're watching the replay, please put #replay. Let us know where you're coming in from. But we all have this strength and resilience within us. You're here. Okay, good. Yeah. For a second, it looked like the video dropped out, but we are still here. Yay. So let me know if there is anything else I can help you with, if there's any little laser coaching, or we can wrap this up. I know, Samantha, it was sounding like there was some stuff you weren't wanting to share on here. I do have some time. I've got another call in in about an hour. I have a next call that I need to jump on, but I do have a little time that if you would like to jump on and do a one-on-one, I am open and welcome to do that with you. I feel like I have wrapped up what I came here to do for Transformational Tuesdays. But yeah, if there are some things that you needed to share a little bit deeper that you don't want to share in a public space, I totally understand that. And you can just let me know in the comments. In the meantime, I just want to send some peace and love out to everyone who is joining us today, who has joined us. I want you to all know that you are strong, you are powerful, you are resilient, you are love, you are peace. We have all of this within us. You are balanced. You are safe. You are secure. You are creative. You have all that you need. I have to get ready for work. Can we one-on-one tomorrow a.m., please? What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Yeah, we'll just have to check the time. I have something I have to look at my calendar. I believe the morning is free. I do have a session in the afternoon. I have 2 sessions in the afternoon, but I think the morning is fairly free. So yeah, just let me know a time so I can hold that space for you, Samantha. I would love to do that. If any of you are going through some challenging times, feel free to send me a DM. There are 5 free vision calibration sessions available. No, 4, because one of my March ones moved into April. So I have 4 vision calibration sessions open for the month of April. If you would like to do an individual vision calibration session where we get really clear on what we would love, on what you would love, and any obstacles that might be getting in your way, I do offer that and offer some laser coaching one-on-one, so you can get a feel of what it feels like to work with me. Okay, Samantha said, okay, Seth, usually after 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, I'm up and available. So 6 is 5, 4. Oh, no, later. I'm going in the wrong direction. 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. So that would be, that's either 8:30 or 9:30 for me. I need to double check. I know. I think it's just 2 hours difference right now. So I think that would be 8:30 for me. That should be okay, or maybe even a little bit later than that, if that works for you. Like, so maybe like 7. Could you do 7? Okay. Yeah, so we will plan on that. So when I am up, I will reach out to you, or you can reach out to me, either way, and we will meet up. And I want all of you to know that I am here for you. This is my tribe. I love you guys. I want to see each and every one of you living your best life. If I can give you some mini coaching sessions to help you get on track, I would love to do that. I also, Samantha, you weren't here when I mentioned this, but I'm really excited. I'm working on this 3-part wave activation series that will be coming to you soon. So it will be 3 separate sessions. One is the awareness. The first wave is awareness. And really getting attuned to our feelings and our thoughts and that power within us. That is the resting phase of the wave, where we're just taking that time to really get in touch and get grounded and centered. The next phase is the activation phase. When we're getting really clear, the clarity of what we would love and just getting really clear on our visions and what that feels like and building that. That's the building phase as the wave is rising up. And then we're going to ride that wave. When that wave crests, we're going to ride it, and we are going to really look at those action steps that we can take to move us forward and help keep us in that flow. We've got to get into that flow and feel it. And then once we feel it, we can keep that wave rolling. We can stay in the cycle of that wave and allow that to fuel us. So that will be coming up soon. I'm really excited about that. I spent most of the day yesterday putting that together, and yeah, really excited about the offering I will be bringing you guys soon. Getting back into the flow here. Working on knocking out this cold so I can be fully energized. So yeah, that's what I've got. I give thanks to each and every one of you who came in here today, who joined me. And yeah, may you stay strong and resilient and not let any of this craziness happening in the world or within your life get you off track or knock you down. It might get you down for a minute, you know, that wave might knock you down, but we get right back up. And that's what this community is all about. Being there for one another, supporting one another, helping each other get through those rough patches. You know, this is a place where you can come if you want to, you know, within the group, not just within the lives, but if there's any time within, you know, during the week when we're not on here live, if you want to post in the Living Your Best Life group and let us know what you're going through. We are here to help you. We are here to hold space for you. That is why I created this group. So please know that this is a safe space. Feel free to share. And yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. Blessings. Oh, let me just see. There's a couple more comments that Samantha said, okie dokie, just let me know. Yes, 7 would be perfect. Hee hee, surface up, babe. That's right. Surf. Sis, raincoat might fight a cold. An elder fights a flu. Raincoat fights a cold. An elderberry fights a cold. I will PM you the chemistry knowledge. Okay, yes. I have been doing a lot of bush tea. I've been doing leaf of life and fever grass and ginger and turmeric. And what else? There's another bush tea that my brethren give me. Yeah, and neem. I haven't been doing neem as much right now. But yeah, I woke up late, so I just had to pop right on here. So I haven't had my tea today. So I am going to go make some bush tea right now. And I'm just at the tail end of this. There's just like a little bit that's hanging on, a little bit of congestion in my chest that I need to work on getting out. What? LMBO autocorrect. I don't know LMBO. Laughing my butt off? Yeah, I guess it's laughing my butt off. Oh, raincoat fights a cold. Oh, is that the autocorrect? What was it you were trying to say? Zinc. Zinc fights a cold. Yeah, I don't have any zinc. I don't know if there's anywhere in town that I could find some zinc, but definitely doing lots of bush tea. So, yeah, and I do need to go. I drank some water. I drank my molecular hydrogen water. I've been on that, but I do need to go make my bush tea, so I am going to close out. It was a pleasure having you here. Even though you came in at the tail end, I'm glad we were able to get some, you know, laser focused coaching for you and just keep you on that high flying disc, keep you in that vibration of love and peace despite all that's happening around you. And that was the whole intention of this call today. So thanks for everybody who joined us, sending lots of love and light out to all of you, and I am going to close out for now. Blessings.